Hi everybody, welcome to a Facebook Live with Jeannie. I'm Jeannie Nielsen, the Card Lady, and I'm very excited to be here with you today. So excited to be here with you today because that means that I have my cards done. And oh my goodness, I remembered, I forgot that I took a picture of them and left them in my photo box. So hang on 1 second so I can share them with you. I was just getting ready to post my cards for when I finish, so that's what took me so long. So sorry I wasn't here for just a second, but we are getting ready to do another Facebook Live. Today's Facebook Live features the stamp set, He's All That. Let me just tell you that this was a challenging one, a very challenging one. I like it though, I think I like it. One of the cards isn't my favorite, but you'll see that, and I'm not going to tell you which one. It is always easy to use a bundle when you have matching DSP. It's so easy. So the challenge is they keep the stamp set around another year, the bundle, and then you have to make it work with something else. Now the designer paper last year was fabulous. It was really, really fabulous. I think I still have a pack left, or at least partially left. So, but anyway, so we are using the stamp set, He's All That. And then, of course, I have to figure out what designer paper to use. So I decided to use the paper, Earth and Elegance. Let me tell you, this was a challenge. I'll say it again. I think that with that, it's got strange patterns, and I'm going to show you the patterns when I flip down. But strange patterns, but great masculine colors. So I like the cards that I made for today, so hopefully you will too. Without further ado, I guess we might as well flip down. I posted this morning, my Facebook Live last week was the Going Fishing, and my card class this week on Thursday is the Going Fishing. So if you place an order in my store before Thursday night, you are going to get the Going Fishing card class. If you place it after Thursday night, you are going to get this He's All That card class. You place both orders both weeks, you get both. Anyway, this is another one of the cards I made last week, and this was the third card. Love it. And this was my Christmas card, a take on something from Celine. Okay, so let's flip down and get going on these cards. So hopefully you are all knowing how to order from me. You go to my store, stampingwithjeannie.stampinup.net. Jeannie is Jeannie, in case you didn't know. I love my name. And I've been able to do a play on it with words, the Paper Crafting Genies, G-E-N-I-E-S. But anyway, I've got my June host code here, and when I flip down, you're going to see it. So actually, I'm not going to flip down, I'm going to flip up. And I'm going to show you everything. So let's do that right now. We're going to flip up, close your eyes, and then we are going to flip down. And I'll light it up a little bit more. So there is my store with my June host code in case you want to get this card class to go. This card class is 4 cards. And like I said, we're going to show you the He's All That stamp set with matching dies. Most of them are in my bowl right here because I used them today. I am missing one. Can you believe that? I found a die that's missing. I have a feeling I thought it was something else and I put it someplace else. But anyway, I'm going to show you the designer paper first, and then I'll show you the cards. So this is the designer paper, and like I said, it's a little bit odd. A little bit hard, like this one. I'm not sure what to do, but it's a great masculine card. And it's got some cool colors on the back. I like this one. It's probably my favorite. Good thing they made it the top of the package. On the back is the navy, and I didn't even, actually it might be Misty Moonlight. I didn't even use this one. I used both sides of this one. This is the new copper clay color. And I used the other side for a card that I'm going to show you in just a second. This one, I like the denim look and that. Very nice. This one, Boy, to me, that almost looks, I know it's Moody Mauve, but it almost looks like it could have been Rich Razzleberry. And then, of course, you've got the herringbone pattern on the back, which is very nice. This one, to me, looks like a metal plate. And I actually used this for one of my cards, and I love it. This was the first one I went to. I actually like that. And then, of course, like I showed you just a second ago, we've got that one. I'm going to put all these away except for this one because I need that one for one of my cards. Let me put that out of the way. Those are left over from my paper shares. I had one 6x6 paper share left, and even that is gone now. So this is the first card, and this is the one that I struggled with the most. It was the last one I did. I like the pretty peacock. I like the fancy fold. It's not that difficult. It's really not. It's a 5.5 and 2 3/4 inch score line on the paper here to start with. Is pretty peacock, 4 1/4 by 11 inches. I scored it at 5.5, flipped it, scored it at 2 3/4 inches because I always do the mountain in the middle when I fold it. This next piece is Lost Lagoon, and Lost Lagoon goes really well. I was going to do a brown like early espresso or pecan pie, but I've already done a bunch with that. So I decided to instead go a little bit lighter. And then I found this Lost Lagoon ribbon, which is just the last yard that's left from my paper, my ribbon share. These banners on each side, the flags, are part of the dies, and it's actually a really cool die. The reason I'm showing you this card in depth is because I'm not making this card. I didn't have time. This is one of the designer papers. This is the back of this designer paper, and you can see this looks like maybe a pretty peacock or Lost Lagoon. So anyway, I didn't want to cut it until I showed you that paper in case I was cutting off the wrong side. But isn't this cool? So there's two banners or flags in the die set. One of these are straight, and then there's also these curved ones. And to be perfectly honest, I'm not exactly sure how to use the curved ones, so I didn't. So there we go. Okay, this is one of the great dies. I use this all the time, especially now that we don't have the layering circles dies anymore, and it gives a nice scallop to it. Isn't that a great size? There's an oval, and that's the one that I'm missing. There's a nice straight rounded edge rectangle, good for tags. And this is totally my favorite die going right now. And this is one I have. My He's All That stamp set never quite makes it away because I always use the die for something. And then there's two other things. I'm going to show you that, and I'll show it to you a little bit more. Isn't that cool? It's, I don't know. I don't know what it's supposed to be, but it's cool, and I used it. So anyway, since I showed you this card, I colored this with the Lost Lagoon Light Stampin' Blend, my light black Stampin' Blend, and my light Smoky Slate Stampin' Blend. I was thinking about doing Wink of Stella on the windows, never quite got that far. But anyway, this is the new, and did I carry them over with me? I guess I did not. This is the new exposed brick embossing folder, 3D embossing folder, and I love it. Isn't that so cool? To me, it looks like it could be tire tracks on sand, with an imagination, of course. I know it's brick, but with an imagination, you could think that this could be tire tracks and that could be sand. So hopefully I'm holding that in the camera so you can see that. And like I said, this is the new Lost Lagoon ribbon. So this is a fancy fold ribbon. This is the first card in your card class, and you'll have the tutorial to make it very easily. All these cards are easy to make. Okay, so this is my second card right here, and I really love this one. This is Pebbled Path. It has a strip of basic white, and then it has that designer paper that I was talking about that almost looks like a metal plate to me. And in fact, we have the metal plate 3D embossing folder, and I could have used that maybe, but I didn't want to get too complicated with the card. But if I had used that, it would be, I would like to use it with a silver paper, and I don't think we have silver right now. So instead, we did the next best thing, and we made a card with the designer paper. So let me move stuff out of the way, and let's make this card. Super, super easy, I'm telling you. All of my cards today are 4 1/4 by 11 inches, scored at 5 1/2. And like I said, this one just has the extra score line. And when I send my card kits to you, they have everything scored for you. So the designer paper is cut, you name it. If there is a die that's part of the bundle, I usually do not send that. This week I will, though, because I know that they're on low inventory, which means I think that these dies are going to go on back order or in orderable status. And I don't want you to be without a set of dies. So I will include the dies this week. And of course the ribbon and your centers and you name it. Okay, so I have here Pebbled Path cardstock. Like I said, 4 1/4 by 11 inches, scored at 5 1/2 inches, so right in half. And what I'm going to use is my bone folder just to burnish my edge a little bit better. Now, I have a strip of basic white, and I'm pretty sure my strip is 2 3/4 inches by 5 1/2. Yes, it is. Sometimes I don't know if I'm going to remember or not. This is the paper that I didn't cut it yet. Let me cut it real quick. I've got my paper trimmer right here. And I'm going to just cut it. I've already cut it at the 2 1/2 inches, but I didn't cut it down to. I like to keep my ruler guard on the right. If you're left-handed, you might like to keep it on your left. You can do your own choice. The card, this designer paper goes all the way to the bottom of the card, so it's 5 1/2 inches. I think that might be all we need the paper trimmer for right now. Let me get my glue out, and we are going to attach this layer to our basic white 2 3/4 by 5 1/2 inch layer. So there we go. I'm going to center that right in the middle, just like that. And then what I'm going to do is attach it to my card. And I have to figure out which, I almost think that I do like it with my little V's going down. So I think going up, no, because then it looks like I'm looking at the top of the card. I want you to open the card, so I'm going to flip it down. So we're going to do that to the bottom. How's the weather where you guys are? Here in Lynnfield, Massachusetts, it is cold. I mean cold. It's downright cold. I have my semi-winter coat back on in the morning for walking the dogs. It's crazy. It was 90 on Friday. On Saturday, it was 40s. But anyway, what can you do? That's New England weather. And nowadays, that's just about everybody's weather, I'm finding. But yeah, it's chilly and it's very dark, like it's going to rain again. So I always keep my ribbon on my roll rather than cutting it and then tying a knot. I would rather try and use as little ribbon as possible. See, I can see right there, I can maybe even use less ribbon. I'm gonna do it like that. Make another, put this through and tie it. There we go. Now, I forgot something. Okay. That's good that it's not very tight because we are going to do this over. I forgot something that very unique that I did with this card. And I can do that for you when I send it to you, so you don't have to worry about that because I'm not expecting that you're going to necessarily have the punch. I already cut this label out. I'm pretty sure it's the new Nesting Essentials labels. If it's not, it's Sending Happy. So it's either Sending Happy or Nesting Essentials. And let me just tell you, you need both of them. So you might as well get both of them. Just take my word that it's one of them and you need it. I have here the Trio Punch. I'm going to center my label right there. And I'm telling you, it doesn't even feel like I am punching a hole. It takes no effort at all. I'm going to try and line up. I don't know if you can see my label here. I'm going to try and line it up. This has a nice center line. So I'm going to try and center that, even though it looks like that means that my label is a little higher rather than lower. See, I didn't take any effort to punch it. I almost take more effort thinking that it needs more effort and it doesn't. This is a super easy one. This is a cuts off the corners like for a tag, and this is for a nice decorative corner, but this is your slot punch. Okay, so now let's try this again. I am going to take my ribbon and I'm going to put it in one side from the top and then under and then to the other side, just like that. Just like that. And then I can put this around. And that's why, exactly why I have this around my layer here so that I can move my label as I want before I decide it's good. So I'm tying just a simple knot because how many guys do you know that want bows on their cards? Hard to say. And I hold one side taut and I pull it tight and I hope for the best. And this just happened to be good. If for some reason it's not good for you, don't worry about it. Don't take it out and try again because sometimes that just does more mutilation to your card. What you can easily do is just take these pieces, maybe I would do it on the back of this. Use dimensionals just to hold your ribbon in place. Or I do Scotch tape or washi tape quite a bit too. So this is how I have that. And what I'm going to do is just add a little bit of glue to top and bottom, just like that. Just so it's going to stay put. I don't want it to be moving all over the place on me. Let me just hold that nice and tight. I have to show you these cool things my good friend Kathy gave to me. These are actually ceramic tile samples. And she gave it to me to hold my pieces in place while the glue is drying. Isn't that fantastic? So if you guys have tile or especially a ceramic countertop sample near you, you can use that. Okay, now we have to do the rest. We have to do some stamping very quickly. And I use my Pebbled Path ink pad. And this is one of the He's All That stamps. I don't have a label on it. I'm just going to have to trust that I'm going to do a pretty decent job. What does it say? Happy birthday to a classic. Now, I know not everybody has a father in their life anymore. I mean, the fact of life is that we're all getting older. But that doesn't mean you don't need guy cards. So this is a perfect guy card. And it's so easy to do. I've got to be very careful. Did you see what I just did? I kind of smushed it. Actually, I think my Pebbled Path ink pad is really wet, but I have to be very careful not to rock that because that's how you get your halo on your paper. And voila, there we go. Like I said, if you're going to get that ink, either wipe it off. I got my chamois right here, ready to go. Either wipe it off or just be very careful that you're not rocking it. And let me put that out of the way, close my ink pad. And what we have to do now, very quickly, is take our plates for my Boho Blue Mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, the Baby Boss. And I'm just going to cut my label very quickly. So I like to put this counter liner underneath, a cabinet liner, whatever you want to call it. I put that underneath because then I know that my machine is not going to do too much slipping and sliding. I'm just going to, I don't know if you can see what I'm doing, but all I'm doing is centering the label and hoping that it looks pretty close to good. If I was really worried about it, I'd use a Post-it note. Oh my goodness, look at that. It's all good except backwards. I'm not left-handed. So let me move it to this side. Just like that. And I'm going to feed it through my mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. Just like that. And voila, I have my die cut. I'm not die cutting everything today for you because I know you know how to die cut. If you don't, feel free to fast forward and rewind and watch me again and again. But it's really easy. It's always a sandwich. It's a sandwich of the platform, a clear plate, and then a clear plate on top. And then you're going to put your die face down on your stamped image and kind of center it as best you can. And like I said, use a Post-it note or washi tape. I find washi tape is a little bit sometimes too strong and sometimes rips my paper. So I love my Post-it notes. And then you're going to just feed it through the machine. That goes in between just like that. And that's your Stampin' Up! Die cut machine sandwich. Okay, let's see now. The only other thing I have to do here, well, I'm running out of all of my dimensionals. I ordered more dimensionals today because that's one thing you can never have enough of is dimensionals, right? Hopefully there's a new pack in there and I'm going to be okay. Otherwise, I'm going to have to be really stingy with my dimensionals today. So I'm not standing up watching my watching all of my comments, but I hope you're commenting. I want you to comment. Tell me where you're from. Tell me if you like the card. If you don't like the card, tell me what you would do to change it. That's your role. If you decide that you don't like the card, what would you do differently? Let me know. I need some gems, and someplace in here I have some gems. Oh, here they are. I'm going to show you something else in just a second with the next card. These are the brushed metallic adhesive back dots. And all I'm going to do is use these bronzy ones and just put a couple right there in the corner. If you can, and you don't have to, but it almost seems like there's a little pattern the way the light picks it up. Try to get that so that they're lined up, but don't perseverate on it. So there we go. Isn't that an easy card? And then, of course, I'd have my inside, my 4 by 5 1/4 basic white insert, and it would be all set to give to somebody for their birthday. We've got a couple of birthdays coming up in a couple of weeks that I can use this for. So, okay, that's card number 1. Okay, let's move it aside and let's take out card number 2. This card is what I was showing you, the designer paper, where you've got both sides that I used. I already made the one, and I didn't make a second one to make online. Oh, I do need my paper cutter. I forgot. I do need it. I'm going to cut this down to, what is this one? This one is 2.5 by 4 1/4 inches is the designer paper. Let's check me. See how smart I am. 2.5 by 4 1/4, which means my copper clay layer, matte layer underneath is 1/4 inch larger. And because this is 2.5 inches, the matte layer is 2 3/4 inches. 4 1/4 inches high for the designer paper, which means 4.5 inches for my copper clay. So hopefully I don't forget. I'm going to cut it at 4 1/4. And voila. Everything else, because I am Jeannie and I have my magic lamp in my magic studio making my magic cards, everything else is prepped. So, oh, nope, that's not true. We have to do another die cut. This was one that I had out. I believe this is one of the Nesting Essentials dies. It's very similar, but not quite. The He's the Man die, it just has a nice, almost like a scored edge, but it's not perforated. It's not your stitched edge like we have. So this is just scrap paper for me in a second. So what I'm going to do is talk about the card. 4 1/4 by 11 inches, early espresso. Again, I scored it at 5.5. 5.5 inches is half of 11 inches. That's how you know. So 4 1/4 is half of 8.5 inches. That's how you know. I'm going to attach my designer paper to my copper clay layer. Now, copper clay, just like Pebbled Path, is one of our new in colors. Do you like it? The jury's out for me. I think I'm going to love it this fall. It goes really well with Cajun Craze. So don't dismiss it yet. Same for Wild Wheat. Wild Wheat is another color that Am I going to like it? Not sure, but it doesn't matter because when it comes to fall, it's going to be fabulous. Okay, so what I did to give a little bit of interest to this was, and I don't know if you can see it or not, I actually stamped in, oh boy, did I take that ink pad here? Because that's my pebbled path. So that's the one I have to get rid of. I have it. It's all good, guys. I've got it. This is the copper clay. I used the copper clay on the early espresso, and that was almost like a Versamark layer. I don't know if you can see it or not, but there's a little bit. So what I'm going to do, since I don't have the die to cut out my oval here, can you believe that? It's going to show up. It's going to show up. It's just not going to show up this week. It's going to show up next week when I don't need it anymore. Let me get my scrap paper. I have copy paper right here, ready to go for my scrap so that I can stamp the edges also. You don't want it to be exact. You want it to be kind of random. So what I do is, I might want to stand up for this actually. What I'm going to do is stamp the edges, the middle, the top, stamp off the sides. There we go. Stamp off, stamp off, stamp off, just off the sides. So there you go. Now you see it nice and bright. It is going to fade into that early espresso layer, and it's going to be almost like a Versamark ink. It's going to be almost like a tone on tone, but if you look very carefully, you're going to see, like you can on this one, it almost has an orangey tint to that. So anyway, that's what I used that stamp for. Holy smokes, you're amazing. Love that stamp. Now we're going to use attach our layer here. This is the matte layer with the designer paper. I am going to attach that to the bottom layer. I'm just going to glue that right on. And then what I chose to do is use the new Copper Clay, Cajun Craze Copper Clay. I'll get it, guys. I'm going to get it. Just might take me a while. There we go. I'm going to use my jute. And I had this bag laying around, and I'm like, this is the perfect bag for our linen threads. You know the threads, the basic essentials that has the white, the vanilla, the black. I'm pretty sure that's still current. I could be wrong, actually. Might not be. But anyway, this is a good way. You can see through the bag, and I can still keep all of my jute twine together. So all I'm going to do is put this around the inside, and I'm just going to, this time, keep it on the table. You should have seen me today. When I was using it today, it went a-rollin'. It went a-rollin' under the table to the other side of the table. Meanwhile, it's still unraveling as it's rolling. So, that was quite the feat. I'm trying to, first of all, pick it up, get it, but also roll it back up. Luckily, there are only about 5 yards on this, and this is all that's left of my ribbon share. So it's almost completely taken care of. So let me put that back in my bag so I can keep it together. Voila, that's your tip for today. And then what I'm going to do is I have this. This is the largest Nested Essential banner from the Nested Essential dies. I think they're standalone dies, if I'm not mistaken. They're in the back of the catalog. Nested Essentials, they're called. And there's really basic shapes, including these banners, which are fabulous for layering your sentiments on. I decided to emboss this one, and I don't know if you recognize the pattern or not, but this is the new Basics 3D embossing folders that is available online only. You won't find it in the back of the catalog. And I have to say, even if you were looking in the catalog, a lot of our embossing folders, except for the embossing folder page in the very back behind all the dies, that's the only place where you can really see the embossing folders. If they're those little tiny corner images in your catalog, you can't really see them. So you just have to trust me. This is a die that you can only get online. So put in online exclusive in your search in my store, stampingwithjanie.stampinup.net, and you will find these folders. There's 3 of them in a package. One of them is dots, one of them is a crosshatch, and the third one I've used with my, I did a By the Bay class before the turn of the catalog, when we still had the By the Bay designer paper, and it looks like starfish. So that's what that comes from. So, okay, I'm gonna stop talking for a minute. I need my copper clay to stamp my sentiment. And I've got a nice large sentiment, and it says, "To the man who does everything." And we all know guys like that. Usually our dads, our husbands, things like that. They are good at everything. They take care of the finances. They do the grilling. They do the, take care of the car. I don't know what to do with the car. If I had a flat tire, I'd be at the side of the road. Good thing I have AAA, right? Anyway, I'm going to put this in the center of this, and I'm going to hold that so that it absorbs into my basic white. Give it about 3 seconds. There we go. Beautiful image, sentiment. And what I'm going to do now is take out again my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. And I'm going to die cut. Like I said, this is the one that has the nice scored edge, kind of a plain but rounded corner label. And it's smaller. You're going to see that it's smaller than the Nested Essentials. So if you need something smaller than the Nested Essentials, you know where to go. Okay, let me feed it through my machine. Hopefully nice and straight. And this was a card that I really struggled with. I kept trying different colors and different things. I really struggled with this one. I think I can put this safely behind me. I don't know if I need it again or not. I'll leave my plates there just in case. Okay, and I have a metal bowl where I keep all of my dies. What I'm going to do is just attach this to my banner right here. And I'm going to try and do it as straight as I can. I'm going to glue it, and what I'm going to do is pop up the banner over top of my jute thread, because then I'm going to keep it in place. Does that make sense? So I'm not somebody that minds if you watch replay or reel. If you communicate with me, please leave me a message though. But I'd love to hear if you're watching the replay, just so I can figure out where, and tell me where you're watching from. Just remember to leave me a message. That is so exciting to me. Okay. Couple more dimensionals on this. What I'm going to do is pull my thread nice and tight. And then I'm going to put another one, pull it tight this way. And hopefully it's going to stay underneath. And then I know that's going to be the middle of my banner. So I'm going to put some more dimensionals at the top and in the bottom corners. I think these are going to be covered with this, right? It's hard to get back in the swing of things. It took me until Saturday to get over my jet lag from Norway. Once again, it was the trip of a lifetime, and I thank all of you for supporting me. And now I'm back to working hard and getting my summer classes going. I am going to announce a new promotion in my email, and I'll put it on the Facebook page as well. For every $40 in my store, you are going to be entered into a Summer Scoops promotion. And at the end, somebody is going to get all of the core colors, the whole collection of the new core colors as the gift. So that's incentive to host a party, come to class, place a $40 order, and every $40 gets that, by the way. And I used my ice cream scoop last week to punch all these scoops where I can put your name on it and enter them. So I have so many there because I am expecting that you guys are going to love this promotion and you're going to sign up. So it's $40 to get a scoop. It's $35 to get a class, but you're going to get the embellishment or ribbon in some cases, but not this week. You're going to get the embellishment that goes with this. with a $50 order. So I would place at least a $50 order, or maybe even an $80 order, so that you get your scoops, you get your class, and you get your embellishment. I don't know where to put these. I just feel, you know, I might do the same thing as I did. I have no idea. Maybe it doesn't need it, but I'm going to put one up there. I'm going to put a couple of little copper ones. And they usually say rule of threes when you're embellishing. More than that is a little awkward. I don't know. Weird spots. I know, but that's okay because it's my card. This will probably be a card for either my dad or my father-in-law. They're both so involved with so much and do so much. And I already have a card for my husband because he flies. He's a pilot, so I've got something all picked out for him. So anyway, there's my card, and it'll have the insert, of course. Let me set that aside. Let's do our card number 4, since I cheated and did not do card number 1. This one is using the designer paper, and it, like I said, this is probably my favorite pattern. Although I'm not sure what it is. Is it flowers? Maybe. Is it maybe pine cones or the pine cone petals? I have no idea. I'm not going to worry about it. I just know I like it. So this is what we're going to do with this one. Let me move this off. I've got this all prepared. This one is going to be a little bit different, the one I'm making right now, though, because you're going to see in just a second. I have my 4 by 5 1/4 inch layer. I did that 4 inches because it's nice and easy to put in half. Actually, I wouldn't even have to do math now that I think about it. I could even do it 3 3/4 inches by 5 inches, or if I wanted to, and do another layer under there. But I did 4 by 5 1/4. Let me tell you a little bit about what I did. So this is early espresso again. I scored it at 5 1/2, just like the last ones. Now the next layer, and I've got that right here, the next layer is the new pecan pie. This took the place of soft suede, and I'm telling you, every time I use it, I like it more and more and more. I embossed this with the hardwood embossing folder. I knew I was going to need this. I have some water handy. Hang on one second. Let me get a quick swallow. All of a sudden I have a tickle. There we go. All good. Oh, and I do need my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine again. I forgot. So I already did, by the magic of television, the magic of my Genie Studio, I already embossed this layer. 4 by 5 1/4 pecan pie embossed with the hardwood layer, embossing folder. Let me attach that. I really like to use glue, especially, or you're going to want to use the Stampin' Seal Plus if you're embossing, because you have to get in all those little nooks and crannies that you wouldn't get necessarily with the standard seal. But either that or you're going to use lots of dimensionals or glue dots, right? Okay, so I'm attaching that because, well, I could do this. It's just going to be upside down. I am going to do the same. Who knows if this is upside down? This one might have been upside down now that I look at it. So like I said, this is the designer paper, 4 by 5 1/4. And what I did was I put it in my paper trimmer. Let me show you that. I put it in my paper trimmer. And what I did was point to point. So if you put on that in the runner there, oh, what is it called? Anyway, it doesn't matter. I'm not going to perseverate about that either. I put that in point to point, and then I just cut it. If it is a 2-directional thing, then sometimes one of your cards is going to have to go like this if you're going to use both sides of it rather than like this. But we're going to do it the same as I did because I think this is actually right side up. Shock of all shocks. Okay. Do you guys ever make cards and then you are down to the last element and you're doing such a good job? And that's when you stamp upside down. Do it all the time. But doesn't matter. Send it anyway because, you know, it's handmade. And that's really, I'm trying to get this to stick corner to corner. Okay. It's the same size, and there we go. Perfect. Okay. So all I did was attach that. So I cut point to point, and then I'm just attaching that right across. I'm starting a new card club this in June, and that's going to be fancy fold cards. The only time you're going to have fancy fold cards in my classes is either with my Super Saturdays or my club classes. So that's a good reason to sign up. Okay, I have here, I use those little dies. These are the little dies. I think I'm, with my little ruffles on my sleeves, I'm losing things. These are one of the dies, and I cut them with Early Espresso. Yes, I don't know what they are. I really don't. But I've got my Take Your Pick die brush, and if either brush it out or poke it out with the other side of it. It really wasn't, it's so funny. Maybe I should have run it back and forth twice, because when I did it the first time, I had no problems. And of course, now that I'm on camera, I'm going to have problems. Isn't that funny? I don't want to rip it either. But, so I'm getting rid of all those tiny little pieces. Those tiny little pieces, in case anybody was interested or knew, they're called chads. And I've got them all over my studio by my Stampin' Cut and Emboss all the time. I have a little hand vac that gets a lot of use down here, because between the dimensional covers and the chads from my little die cut pieces, the floor is a mess. Okay, sorry. Let's see if this one goes better, hopefully. Hopefully. Yeah, this one is much better. Okay. Almost done. And then I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. Yep, my dogs are barking because my son just left. I told him to wait until I finished, but he just went to... he likes to go golfing or go to the driving range when it's raining, because he figures that's when nobody else goes. I have a feeling that's when everybody else goes, because everybody thinks the same thing, but I'm not going to tell them that. Okay, move that out of my way. And what I'm going to do is attach this to my card. I'm going to have the diamonds up and down, and I'm going to put the point right in the center of the card. So I've got my center here, halfway down. I'm going to put the point, maybe I'll move it in a tiny bit. I don't know. All I'm going to do is attach some glue, or I could do dimensionals, I suppose. I'm going to do it just on the solid, just like that, just a little bit. And, yep, as long as it's up and down, that's all that matters. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Okay, so the up and down with the diamonds. Put it on the point about halfway down in the center, and you'll be able to eyeball it and say, oh yeah, that looks about right. Nobody's going to be measuring, so don't worry about it if you aren't exactly right. Okay? Okay, because it is going to be under something too. Next, what I'm going to do is, okay, so this I already die cut. What I'm going to do next is punch a circle out of my Early Espresso. And this is the new 2 3/8 inch punch. Guys, this is, since we don't have the layering circles anymore, you're going to want these punches. I know the 1 3/4 inch and the 2 inch punch are both back ordered until June 19th, I believe. But as soon as it comes available again, or if you have your others, this is your go ahead to use that. Oh boy. I think I figured out what I lost. Oh, here it is. This is my stitch circle. I believe this is the 3rd largest. I'll have to measure it. I'll tell you. It's the stitch circle from the Stylish Shapes dies. It is a little bit over, it's like 2 1/8 inches. So, you know, when you're looking at your ruler, every tiny line is a 1/16 of an inch. The quarter way lines are 1/8 of an inch, and then what little bit longer or quarter, and that's a half, 3/4, etc. But if you're going for 16ths, you're talking those tiny lines in between on the ruler, okay? What I'm going to do first is glue my stitch shape, my pecan pie stitch shape, to be more exact, onto my 2 3/8 inch circle. And then I am going to punch, nope, can't punch, I'm going to die cut. This is where it's going to come out. I need this again. I need the Early Espresso ink pad, and I have this stamp. And what does the stamp say? Let's look at it again. It says, "Every day with you is another adventure." Isn't that sometimes the case, right, guys? Inking it up. I'm not sure that I'd have enough room up there, so I'm just going to stamp it down here. And there's plenty of ink on my Early Espresso pad. Just give it a second or two to soak in before you die cut it, because it'll smear. It'll smear, and it will also not do a great job of soaking in. And that's why sometimes you don't have a great image when you're stamping. Last time with the Stampin' Cut and Emboss, and we're going to use this round die right now for this. I'm making my sandwich platform. If you're using the bigger machine, it's the bigger platform. And I believe there's a shim as well that you would use with the bigger machine. So there's a platform, and then there's a shim. Then you've got your clear plates that make the sandwich. So let me put that in here. Oh, you know what? I need to trim this because it's not going to fit in my mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. So, got my paper snips here. And I'm going to lay this down. And as long as it's centered, it doesn't matter if it's straight up and down or whatever. I'm going to worry about that when I put it on my card. So I don't want it to move on me. So, okay, let me just feed that through. Sorry for the shaking. I'll do it as slowly as I can so it doesn't shake too much. A little bit hard to not shake when it's believe it or not, this is a card table. It's a wood type card table. Okay, let me put that there. Now I can put these plates behind me because now I know I am done. Die goes there, scrap goes here. Let's take this out, and what we're going to do is attach this to the center of our pecan pie layer. Actually, hold that thought. You know what I'm going to do instead? I'm not going to do that at all. I am going to take the new pecan pie ribbon, and I am going to make a loop-de-loop, just kind of a messy bow. What I'm going to do is up like that, down, up like that, and like that, just like that. Does that make sense? Just like that. It's hard to see probably, but you know what I'm going to do before I even do that? I have here, where did I put it? Oh, I bet I used it. Okay, hold that thought. I'm going to use, oh, you know what? I'll use my washi tape. I've got some washi tape right here that's going to work very well for that. Just a length of washi tape, and I am going to tape this to the back of the card, just like that. Let me trim that edge. I don't want it to show. That's all we do. So, you know, it's nice, and you know what? I think it moved on me. I don't want that big of a loop, so let me just do it like that. Okay. Is that good? Yeah, not bad. It's not as good as my first one, but they never are, right? I'm going to just cut this and, oh, let's use my Fiskars scissors. These are my ribbon scissors. They don't come out of my ribbon area unless I know that they're coming out. So nobody touches my ribbon scissors. So there we go. Just like that. What I'm going to do next is layer this on the card. So I've got my my washi tape, but I'm also going to use dimensionals to pop it up, and that's going to also hold that ribbon in place. Just like that. I don't have to take off all the backs as long as most of the backs have their backings removed. Do it like that. Put another one right over here. And you know what? I feel like let's just keep layering it on because I really want this to stay put. I don't want it to lift on me. It helps that I have the washi tape on there because it's not going anywhere. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is decide how I like this the best. I think I like it like that, just like that. Pretty close. And then now is when I'm going to take my label. Let me add a little bit more glue in case this dried a little bit. Do you know that if you use your Tombow, your multi-purpose glue, and let it dry so it's tacky, it's actually a removable glue. As long as you don't stick it down, because once you stick something down, sorry guys, it is stuck. That is for sure. Okay, so there we have it, just like that. I'll use my adhesive eraser to get rid of the extra glue that I have right there, but I'm not going to worry about that right now. And the other thing I'm going to do, let me put my snips away. I think I just wanted to add a couple of maybe some gems to that too. So I have my brushed metallic dots. I'm going to use the shinier gold ones. And you know what? I'm going to just put them, maybe I'll put 2 on since I only have 2 gems left in this package. I'll put them right there, just like that. Just a little accent. Oh, you know what? If I had another one, and I do, I have a whole package that I haven't opened yet. I'm going to put that right in the center. So let me get the 3rd gem out since I'm getting down there anyway. Don't worry, I still have more gems left for when you place your orders. I totally do. Let's just use a little one right for the center. What do you think? Ta-da! I kind of like it. So those are our 4 cards using the He's All That with the Earth and Elegance paper. And like I said, it was a challenge, wasn't it? So we've got this card. We've got this one that I didn't show you how I made. I talked you through it, but I didn't make it. You can rewind to the beginning if you joined me late. And then this one with Pebbled Path. And these are the 4 cards for this week's Card Class to Go. He's All That. Perfect for the guys in your life. Everybody needs guy cards because don't we always have tons and tons and tons of floral cards? You know what I'm going to do is just flip back and say goodbye to you. Have a great week, everybody. I hope you find time to stamp this weekend, especially if the weather isn't great. Oh, it's only Monday. Well, you've got all week to stamp then. Have a great week, everybody. I will see you next Monday, and I will post this on YouTube and Facebook later. Bye.